Hello, this is CCA Radio, and we just had a talk about the electoral process in the United States. We are here with Carlos Arévalo. He is an international law professor from Savannah University, and he was the person actually leading the talk. And we have talked for a couple of times, we have talked about the electoral process, how it works, the many particularities that it has, but we have some further questions. Why is it that this process has been so atypical, so particular and different from the ones before? What is it that makes it so particular?
Okay, well, first of all, good night. It's a pleasure to be in CCA Radio. Well, I think the reason is because of the candidates. It's the first time that we have what has been called an outsider, which is a person that is not really a politician, a traditional politician, going against a traditional politician. So we have Donald Trump, he's a businessman, he's not a politician, against Hillary Clinton, who has been senator, who has been first lady, who has been secretary of state. So that's probably what has made this election so atypical, as you just call it, very accurately. And it's the fact that we are having a non-political actor going against a very political actor in a political election, such as the presidency of the United States election.
And the fact that, for example, Trump is a non-political actor, does it play in his favor or against him somehow?
Well, I think we're seeing something in the United States democracy right now that probably we didn't saw so much before, and it's very evident in other countries of the hemisphere, and it's the fact that people is a little bit tired about how politics and how political people are going against the big issues in the country. So there's no doubt that probably that can be in his favor, but at the same time, the fact that he can go without any political filter and say things and promise things and do campaigns in such a way that can even be irritating for some sectors of society. So what we're going to find here is that there is people that agree with the way he's doing things or he's saying things, not because he likes what Donald Trump is saying, but because he's tired of the traditional political way. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that hate him and are truly against him because he feels that his language is abusive and that he's going against minority, etc. So it's in his favor and also against him the way he's doing things because he is not a traditional political actor.
Right. At this moment, we are just minutes away from knowing the final decision, actually 1 hour away from knowing the final results. What can we expect at this point?
Tension. That's the only thing that we can expect right now. Tension, because really it's going to be a close election, which was, if you ask me or if you ask anyone 6 months ago if there is an election between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, is it going to be a close election? The answer will be no, it's not going to be a close election. Hillary Clinton is going to go over Donald Trump easily. But really things have changed in the recent days, in the recent months, and the truth is that today we're going to have a very, very close election. We have to wait until last moment to see really what's happening. Right now Donald Trump is taking the lead. We're expecting for the West Coast states to close their election process. Tension. That's the only thing that we can expect.
For us as a binational center, the Colombo Americano, the relationship with the United States is very close. We work directly with the American embassy. Do you think that regardless of who exactly is the president, this relationship between the two countries can be affected at some point?
I hope it doesn't, because I have realized how good and how important is centers such as this center, the Colombo American Center, for Colombian people and its relationship with the United States. And I hope it doesn't. But to be honest, if it's Hillary Clinton, that's one of the things that we have. And it's less uncertainty in the way that we know how she managed especially political affairs issues. We know how she managed the relationship with Latin American states, specifically how she managed the relationship between the United States and Colombia. And probably we're going to follow the same trend that we have had with President Obama. But if Mr. Trump is the president, then what we have really is uncertainty because we don't know what's going to happen. And I couldn't dare to say that nothing is going to happen and that the program, such a magnificent program as the one that is developed by the Colombo American Center, is going to be affected. So I hope no. I hope that even someone like Donald Trump can see how great this program is, how good for the American people is, how it can influence the Colombian people, and how important that is in the world today.
Finally, we would like to ask a more practical question. For the average person, seeking to understand politics a little bit more, seeking to understand what happens in the States, what happens in Colombia, how these two countries are connected, what would be your word of advice for someone like this?
Well, you have to understand that we have a tradition of being close states, of being close people, since ever. So it's a close, there's a very, very close relationship between the US and Colombia. And in recent years, we have seen, even before, in all this dramatic war that we have fought against drug dealing and against guerrilla groups, etc. And now that we're about to come to, all this fight is about to come to an end, the United States is being there again. So it's a close relationship, it's a cooperation relationship, and that's very important. It's very important for Colombia, it's very important for the US.
Okay, this was Carlos Arévalo. Thank you very much for being with us.
A pleasure, and it's a great initiative. I hope you keep it up.
All right, so this is CCA Radio. I'm Daniel Valderrama, signing off.